Diane in Denmark here. Just get the timer started. Welcome back to day 2 in our series of getting things done. And thanks for all the great comments yesterday, because as I said yesterday, I was excited to share how I use the Getting Things Done system along with the Flylady system, and you were all excited, which made me even more excited. But anyway, just so we get our ground rules straight, this is my interpretation of the Getting Things Done system. I'd mentioned it before several times that I use it, and a little bit of how I use it, but I'm going to take you through the baby steps of how I use it. And I know a lot of you have borrowed the David Allen book from the library, and I did the same. And I know sometimes when you read that kind of self-help book, it seems great, but then you get a bit bored along the way and you maybe don't finish it. So this is my interpretation of it and how I use it together with the Flylady system. Now, as with the Flylady system, you can pick and choose what you use from any of these things like KonMari or any of these systems. But if you don't kind of do it stage for stage, if you're not trying all the stages, even if you're a bit skeptical, you're probably not going to get that much out of it. So, go into it with an open mind. Some of the things you might think, sounds a bit daft, but, go with the flow. It's like, for a lot of you, the thing with dressing to shoes in the Flylady system, and then when you actually tried it, suddenly you were much more productive. So anyway, this is my interpretation of getting things done. And yesterday, I asked you to just take, a piece of paper, an old jotter. We're not needing anything special, but just to fetch all the information that's going on here between your ears and put it down on paper. Every thought that, whizzes past, and we have a lot of them, just get it down on paper. And I've told you before that, I have, when I wake up in the morning, I've got things flying around in my head. And, it's like I'm being assaulted by ideas and thoughts and worries. And the Flylady system has really helped me, because I just kind of push those aside and get on with my morning routine. I'll put a link to my routines up there. And then once I've just got on with my routine, then I'm a bit more grounded and able to get on with my day and take care of the thoughts that I've had. And this is exactly what the Getting Things Done system will help you with. If you are lying awake at night and having all these thoughts tumbling around in your head, or if you're going to wake up in the morning and are already feeling overwhelmed before you've even got before you put your head underneath the shower, this is really going to help you. And I used to have a fantastic memory, when I worked in Edinburgh, when I worked in Luxembourg. When I worked in Edinburgh, we had a customer base of 700. And this was in the days before, I didn't even have a computer. I was working on an electronic typewriter. And I could tell you all the postcodes for all the clients, whether they were in Boston or whether they were in Milan, but you know how it is. Maybe if you've ever had a baby, you will know that when you've just had a baby, your mind just goes to mush. Same with me now. I'm going through the menopause. I'm 50 years old, and I can't remember things from one day to the next. So this is really, really useful if you're in that situation, and just for any situation. And remember, like the Flylady system, you can use this for home, for work, for the office. It covers all aspects of your life. Anyway, enough talk. Let me just push you back a wee bit. Right. So yesterday I asked you to write down every thought that comes into your head. Just anything that pops up into your head, you write it down. And today I'm going to tell you what the next step is. And there's going to be a few more in this video series, because it takes a few steps to get this. And we will be dealing with emails that come in. We will be dealing with physical papers, that are coming into the house, because you know it's not just the ideas in our heads, it's everything else that's going on around us. We'll get to that, but for today I want you to take the paper that you've made since yesterday, all the thoughts, and this was the light bulb idea that I saw when I read the Getting Things Done book. What David Allen says is that, you know, you have all these ideas and projects and things in your mind, but you've got to take that, you know, once we take that information out of our heads and put it onto paper, we decide what the next action step is. So we're not just thinking about, let's just take an example of little Timmy's birthday, right? So you could say little Timmy's birthday, you could write that down in, you know, your bullet journal, your planner, wherever you write things down. But that's just a heading. It's not actually, you know, what is it that you have to do to, you know, are you going to Timmy's birthday? Do you need to reply to an invitation? Is Timmy your son? Are you holding a birthday party for him? Do you have to ask your significant other, or do you need to send out invitations? Do you need to buy a birthday card for little Timmy? You know, do you have to bake a cake for little Timmy? So for everything that you've written down yesterday, you've got to think of what is the next action step that you need to take to make that thing happen. And some things, you know, if it's like a birthday for little Timmy, there could be several actions that you need to take. But then, you know, now, I want to get things clear for today. We are not taking action on all of these right now. You're just taking the piece of paper that you had yesterday, and for each one, you're thinking, what is the next action step? And I'm going to go through the ones that I have from yesterday, because when I read things like self-help books, you know, the ideas are really good, but I need to see the practical things. So I'll go through what I have. And also I want to say to you that, you know, we have all these ideas, you know, tumbling around in our heads, and this very practice of getting out of our head and onto paper is a fantastic tool for you, because if you've ever gone to yoga, you know, I've done yoga many times during the years. You know, when you're lying on the mat and, you know, you're doing that thing at the end and you're just kind of drifting off, and the yoga teacher is taking through a guided meditation and says to you, you get a thought coming in, just recognize the thought and then let it go again. That is what we're doing here. We're recognizing the thought, what is in our head right now, we're writing it down, and we're letting it move on. Because not everything that pops into your head has to be, you don't have to action it right now. And that's sometimes where we go wrong, where we, you know, because we're, you know, fly babies, procrastinators, creative, we've got all these things tumbling around, and then we suddenly remember something, and then we go off and start that without actually thinking, do I have to take some action on that right now, or can I put it into a schedule for later and use my time wisely, you know, and get it into a routine. So anyway, I shall go through with you what I put on my list yesterday, and all I want you to do is with your list is you take whatever you wrote down yesterday, and next to it write the next action step. Now you don't need to do anything else. We're not taking any action. We're just taking one step at a time. So yesterday, let me see, where's my list? Here's my list, right. Yesterday I said to you, dishwasher salt, because I had replaced the dishwasher salt in the, in the dishwasher. I used up the last of the salt that I had in my stash, so I needed to remember to order new dishwasher salt. So if you've written down, you know, that you've run out of ketchup, just write on it, you know, buy ketchup, okay? We're not getting to the next stage yet of when we're going to do that. We're just buy ketchup. Instead of just writing down ketchup, buy ketchup. Okay, I said to you my son is having a house party here at the weekend. And then what's the next step for that for me? Well, the next step for me was to go into the garden and sort out, bring out the lanterns and do a bit of tidying up in the garden. So I've written down, party, and then I've written down garden, and I've also written down music, CDs, not CDs, but you know what I mean, playlists. So that's two things that we're working on, is doing something in the garden, organising the garden a bit, and music. So it's a specific thing that we have to do. The next thing I mentioned was, I was thinking about the Flylady cruising through the holidays, which starts next month. And the thing I wanted to do about that was to put out an early warning video for you. It's all right, we've got a couple of minutes left. Let me see, yeah. So I've got written down that I need to get some items together for a video. So that's that done. Another thing that I added last night was I need to get in touch with a joiner, because we have some work that's unfinished and I need to chase him up. So I've written next to that text. I need to text him. Also in the house, one of the handles came off the bathroom cupboards upstairs. So I've written down glue. I need to get the glue from downstairs. Doing that right now. Another thing that I mentioned yesterday, did I mention it? Oh yeah, I mentioned to you that our apple trees are, throwing down apples faster than we can pick them up. So what I've written next to that is get in touch with a friend, and I actually did that yesterday. She came round and took a lot of apples. And I've also written down Facebook, because I'll put a little note out on Facebook to my local friends that if anybody wants to come and take apples, to come and pick them up. Now, as I've said here, I don't want you to go doing all these things right now. What you're doing is looking at the thought that's run through your head and seeing what is the next action step that you need to do to make that happen. And, with some things, if it's some kind of project like a party, there will probably be various action steps. You may need to phone somebody, you may need to buy a gift, you may need to bake a cake, and then again, baking a cake, do you actually have the ingredients? So we're just breaking things up, but what is the next action step that you need to take? So that's all you need to do for today. We're not phoning and ringing and buying, and we're not doing all that. All you're doing is anything that comes to your head the next couple of days, keep putting it down on paper, and then writing, when you write it down on paper, think, what is the next action step that you need to take? Right, I'm going to stop it there for today because, we don't want to get overwhelmed. We're just taking one thing at a time. And as always, any comments, leave them down below. And feel free to join us on Instagram, Diane in Denmark, the same name as the channel here, hashtag Diane in Denmark, and you can see what we, as I told you, because if you were on Instagram yesterday, you will know what I'm wearing the next day. You'll know what the weather in Denmark is going to be like, because you can tell by my outfit. You'll have seen that my sink was shiny last night. And in a few minutes or a bit later, you'll know what we're having for dinner, because I post what we're having for dinner every day. So listen, come and join in the fun on Instagram, and I'm going to keep it short here because we are, underneath the 15 minutes. I don't want to keep you back because you've got things to do. We're getting things done together with Flylady and Getting Things Done system. So that was it for today, and I shall see you very soon. I'm probably going to be in here tomorrow doing a spot of decluttering, but I should also be talking about getting things done again. Okay, that's it for me. Diane in Denmark. Live long and prosper.